The most fulfilled people in the world are people who have been able to successfully integrate their purpose, which is what they were born to do, with their passion, which is what they love to do, for a profit. So I thought, I don't want to be one of those people who ends up becoming financially successful doing something that I hate. I want to be one of those people that actually loves doing what I do, but at the same time, be able to monetize it in such a way that feels right, where the value that I'm providing is far in excess of what I'm charging.
Welcome to the Shine Strategy Podcast, where entrepreneurs, visionaries, and business owners are getting visible and changing the world. I'm your host, Heather Burgett, an award-winning publicist, entrepreneur, and business mentor. Today's show is sponsored by PR Stars. For more inspiration and Shine strategies, head over to shineinsiders.com now for my free masterclass so that you too can get visible and go from local to global. Hey, Shine Insiders. Thank you so much for being here today. And before we dig into today's episode, I just want to ask you a question. Have you checked out my free masterclass? You can do that, as you hear in the intro and the closing of the show, at shineinsiders.com. And you might be wondering what it's for. Is it for you? And I will just say, if you're looking for an award-winning publicist to help you increase your visibility, authority, and influence, so you can reach a global audience without selling your soul, then yes, it is for you. It's also for you if you want to lead the conversation about who you are and what you're doing in the world, being intentional with your career, and taking control of the direction of your life and being proactive with a solid strategy to reach your goals. I'm here, I'm taking a stand for you to claim your inner and your outer journey. So if that is all resonating with you, then please meet me over at shineinsiders.com. All right, let's get into today's episode. Hello, Shine Insiders. Thank you for being here today. I have a very special guest that is tuning in all the way from Melbourne today. I'm really excited to introduce you to Ron Malhotra. Hi, Ron. Thank you for being here today.
Hey, Heather. Thanks for having me.
And I just want to let people know a little bit about you and what you do, and then we'll dig into all of this. So you are a wealth expert. You are actually listed as one of the top 50 most influential men on LinkedIn. You've written 5 books. You're a global speaker. You're a mentor. You have programs like The Successful Male, The Successful Woman, Magnify You, and you've appeared in top media outlets. I mean, you have been doing an incredible job building your own platform, getting out there, having massive success. And now you're teaching people to use the skills that you use so that they can also achieve their success. And I'd love to hear where this passion for this field of teaching and coaching and guiding people, where did that all start for you?
I think like most people, when you've experienced a lot of pain and adversity, and you've experienced some challenges, and then you've successfully been able to overcome those challenges and then produce the outcomes that you want consistently, you obviously naturally end up, you build the desire to then start teaching it to other people, because it's almost like, wow, I can't believe that I'm able to do this. And this works, and and then you look around and you see how many people don't have any understanding of how to build the exact life and lifestyle that they want, how to build wealth for their financial future, or how to build profitability in their business. So I guess I didn't set out to become a teacher, but I kind of realized that once you have this ability to consistently produce outcomes, you start to feel this sense of obligation. You go, I don't want to just keep this to myself. I want to start sharing it. And then many years ago, I came across this model, which was the most fulfilled people in the world are people who have been able to successfully integrate their purpose, which is what they were born to do, with their passion, which is what they love to do, for a profit. So I thought, I don't want to be one of those people who ends up becoming financially successful doing something that I hate. I want to be one of those people that actually loves doing what I do, but at the same time, be able to monetize it in such a way that feels right, where the value that I'm providing is far in excess of what I'm charging. in my spirit, I'm a teacher, and my businesses are in advisory, training, and mentoring. And I write and I speak, but effectively, all of these are just forms of teaching.
I love it. And you have such, deep tactics, I would say, that, or kind of systems that you teach and use, like kind of from this like higher consciousness place, but they're very systematic. And so that I found to be very interesting, because you're kind of merging sort of the energetic side of things with the actual implementation and practical side of things. So where did that come from, the desire to kind of merge those two worlds?
Well, that's a really good observation. I mean, being in, all my conditioning was in the corporate financial services world. So naturally, I had a bent towards left brain thinking, rational thinking, analysis, so on and so forth. And I wasn't even aware that there are other forms of intelligence, such as our intuitive senses. And my own journey of personal growth, as I started to become aware that as a human being, we have other elements and other dimensions to our identity. We're not just our mind. We have heart intelligence, we have spiritual intelligence, we have emotional intelligence. I already felt that I had reasonable financial and commercial intelligence, but then, I started to, work out that to become a holistically fulfilled and successful human being, you need to have all different types of intelligences. You don't want to be just a guy that is very good at solving problems, but when it comes to relating to people, you suck. Or you don't want to be the guy that's very good at social etiquettes and interacting with people, but when it comes to money, you suck. And you don't want to be the guy that's very good at looking after your health and your well-being, but then when it comes to productivity and performance, you suck. Or when it comes to spiritual understanding and your connection with the universe, but when it comes to making other decisions in your life, you suck. So for me, it was like, why can't I just see somebody like that's holistically successful, that's got it all? Is it even possible? So that's where I started. I asked myself the question: is it possible to have it all? Is it possible to be the type of person who is inspired, on purpose, at the same time as making a contribution, maximizing their potential, performing at a high level, is also financially successful, and emotionally can connect with people and has influence? And one of the things I realized was that predominantly you'll see, people are categorized as either being predominantly left brain or predominantly right brain, meaning that either they're very numerical and analytical, or they're very heart-centric and social and compassionate. And I thought to myself, either extremes are not really where I want to be. I don't want to be the guy that's very good at driving results, but then can't connect with people. At the same time, I don't want to be this airy-fairy guy that loves everybody, but then can't get results for myself and can't make the contribution and the impact that I want. So what I did was I strategically then developed all my mental faculties rather than just developing one mental faculty, which is predominantly the case that's because the traditional education system emphasizes, it divides, either you're a person who's business orientated or you're a person that's more humanities and arts orientated. And so what I thought is, I want to be creative, but at the same time, I want to be intellectual, but I want to be emotionally and socially aware, and I want to be spiritually aware, and I want to be financially in tune with what I'm doing. So I strategically developed all sides of my personality because I wanted to prove to myself that it is possible to have it all. And once I kind of determined that there is a way that we can integrate all these different types of intelligences to become holistically successful and evolve in all different areas of our lives, that's when I thought, no one's teaching this. No one even talks about this. We're not even consciously aware that there is a way that we can develop ourselves and develop other mental faculties as well. So you're right. I mean, I'm very, intuitive. I'm very esoteric in a lot of the stuff that I think and I teach. At the same time, I'm structured, I'm organized, and I'm disciplined. And I see a lot of, entrepreneurs and professionals and executives who, they've developed their intellect really well. But then when it comes to connecting with people or having awareness, they're lacking. On the other hand, I see coaches and consultants and trainers who have done exceptional work on developing their awareness, and their energy and all of that sort of stuff. But when it comes to discipline and organization, they fail. So, I don't want to be either or. I want to have it all. And once you make that decision, once it even falls into your conscious awareness that it's possible to integrate all these different types of intelligences, that alone is so transformational, right? And then start to go, I'm going to spend some time in prayers and meditation every day. I'm going to try and love people that are very hard to like. At the same time, I'm going to be performance driven. I'm going to hold myself accountable. I'm going to hold my team accountable. And it's the merger where the magic happens when you met. And I kind of feel, well, why are we even given all these mental faculties if you're not, what's the point of not you, like, we're wasting them if you're not using them. So all human beings have, spiritual awareness, but all human beings have intellect. All human beings have emotional awareness. All human beings have the capacity to be good with finances and stuff like that. But it's like anything else. You have to develop these things. But I think a lot of the times people unfortunately label themselves as, oh, I'm not good with numbers. I'm not good with money.
Yeah.
So once we start to create that self-image, then there's no incentive for us to develop ourselves in that area. So I removed all the labels and I said, you know what? I want to be one of those guys that can proves to the world that you can have it all. And so that's how it started.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And that's so really looking at people as a whole person that, like you said, it's a holistic approach, which I approach it very similarly in the work that I do with my community. And it all starts with energy, alignment, spirituality, emotions. There's like this whole level, the mindset. And then there's this whole other piece of where, yes, that's one side of it, but then you can't just leave it there. You actually have to have steps and a plan and systems and implement and follow through. But when it seems that when you do start anything in life from that more holistic place, that's where, as you said, the magic starts to happen.
Yeah, that's correct. And if you look at our entire education system, we have been conditioned, and we're not even aware of this, but we emphasize the physical over the energetic, right? But then, of course, in the last 5 or 10 years, as consciousness is becoming more mainstream, you're starting to find that there's a whole generation of people that are starting to emphasize the energetic over the physical. Now, I kind of think that you don't need to emphasize one or the other. You just need to integrate them, because some people will say, oh, Ron, but, we're spiritual beings having a physical experience. I said, that's correct. So why don't you want to understand, master, and enjoy the physical experience? Why do you want to transcend it?
Right.
So I like the physical experience. I like a good car and a good watch, and I like a good food, right?
Yeah.
But none of that stuff defines me. I like those experiences that humans create because I see the creativity that goes into it. At the same time, I'm not hooked onto them. I'm not addicted to them. I don't rely on them to define my identity. I have a relationship with a higher intelligence. I spend a lot of time in silence and solitude, and I get a lot of my awareness and my inner power from there. So for me, I love the physical experience. I say to people, see, you just said yourself that we're spiritual beings having a physical experience. Why are you trying to transcend the physical experience? If you were not meant to have the physical experience, you would have not been born in the physical realm, right? There's a reason why you were born in the physical realm, because you're supposed to master it, not escape from it.
Right. I love that perspective.
And sometimes because I get labeled a materialist or, superficial, and I go, no. I love the good stuff, man. I love if somebody that's someone's taken the time to put together, like it could be a piece of furniture, it could be, I just like nice things. But I also understand that that's not what life is all about. But to refuse the acknowledgement of nice things is like just denying yourself of the pleasures of the physical world. So I want to be able to enjoy it all.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point too, because I think that's where, and I know you do a lot of work with this with people in your community on probably more the sort of money mindset, wealth mindset stuff, and that's that so many people have these preconceived notions because of their own patterning or belief systems that they were brought up with that, you can't be both. You can't be spiritual and have money and success because they're contradictory, which, that's a belief system, right?
That's right. And it's interesting to observe how many people have that belief system and they haven't even examined it. They've just adopted it without examining the flaws with that belief system. And so, yes, it's about bringing awareness. It's about making people understand that, look, when I was talking to a lady last night and I said, would you say you have money scarcity? And she said, yeah, I don't know if I do or not. And I said, look, you're not wanting to charge people. So she had this reluctance of charging people. And I said, look, think about this for a second. Why do you have the reluctance to charge people appropriately? It's because at an underlying level, you must think money is scarce. She said, no, I don't think so. Well, I said, let's unpack this for a minute. What if money was water and it's everywhere? Would you have a problem taking 2 or 3 buckets from everybody? If it was like just in abundant supply where you could just open a tap and get as much as you wanted? You wouldn't, would you? You wouldn't hesitate in taking a bucket of water from somebody because you just go, well, there's so much water. It's not going to make any difference to them if I take a bucket of water from here. Well, the reason you hesitate in taking money is because you don't think money is like water. You think money is scarce. It's not abundant. Even though the actual reality is that the world produces trillions of dollars annually in the world economy, but you are not seeing that. You haven't fully emotionally engaged with the idea with the fact that there is so much money out there, and you automatically hesitate in taking money from somebody because you think if you take it from them, they're not going to have enough. But and all you're doing is you're reinforcing the poverty mindset that other people have. You're reinforcing their helplessness. You're robbing them of their dignity. Have you ever thought about it like that? Now, of course, she was very challenged by this conversation, and my intent was to challenge her because I needed her to feel the emotional impact without which no paradigm shift is possible. And, I said, look, don't reject what I'm saying. You don't need to entertain what I'm saying either. Just play with it for a little while and just think about what I've just said. And for me, that's what I see everywhere. It doesn't matter whether you come from the most advanced economy in the world or you come from the most scarce economy in the world. I travel a lot. I travel to, I get to stay in some of the best hotels in the most advanced cities in the world. At the same time, I get to travel regularly for charity work to developing parts of the world. It's got nothing to do with how much money is in the economy. You see this mindset play out everywhere. Mm-hmm. So clearly, it's a matter of perception. It's not reality.
Yeah, I think that really is a big shift, is going from that lack belief system or mindset or energy that you're carrying. And, that was something I remember going through, was realizing that there is enough for everyone and we're the only ones that limit our experience. So opening up to the possibility that there is unlimited possibility out there for wealth, abundance, prosperity. And it's, I think money is an easy way in to this abundance, prosperity concept, but it truly is about more, right? It's about wealth in your relationships, your life, your health, your, every aspect, not just your career and your bank account.
Well, money, to me, is the enabler that allows you to live by your highest value. My highest value is legacy. And that means I must create things that are going to outlive me. I'm naturally inspired, organized, and disciplined in the areas where I'm doing something that I can connect with my highest value of legacy. But what I realized is, for me to have the possibility of leaving any type of lasting impact on the planet, I must have financial resources to be able to do that. Because if I'm too... if I'm anchored to my job, for example, where I have to just, worry about my bills all the time, how am I going to be able to take time off work and be able to fly to a third world country and help build a house or a school? I can't do that because I'm worried about my bills. So I see a lot of well-intentioned people talking about the fact that, and this is how they justify and rationalize it. You see, they say, oh, well, it's not about the money, it's about the contribution, it's about the impact. I've got, just to give you some sort of an idea, I have a community of men in one of the groups that I run. There's thousands and thousands of men. And I always see this happen every time I talk about money and success. Lately what's happening is there's a new generation of people that are, they consider themselves to be spiritualists. So what they do is they automatically assume that being a spiritualist means denying the physical and denying the, the financial. So every time I talk about money and success, you see people get really uncomfortable. And then you see all these comments, oh, but it's not about the money, it's about contribution, it's about impact. So, I said, okay, if that's the case, who's coming to Cambodia with me next month? Crickets. So I said, you see the bullshit that you are, and excuse my language, I said, the bullshit that you're feeding yourself, 10,000 of you in this group, and I've had like 2 or 3 people say, yep, I'm interested in this opportunity. I said, so, stop talking this rubbish, because you can say all of this stuff, you've got the right intent clearly, but where is the follow through on this? Whereas I'm, on the other hand, I'm saying to people, enable yourself financially so you can make the contribution, you can make the impact that you really want to make. I think it's kind of selfish to go, I'll just make enough money for myself and my family. I think it's a lot more benevolent to think, well, there's so much money out there, and there's so many things I can use it for, because most people are just, they've got their blinkers on. Well, I'll take the blinkers off and I'll acquire as much as I can, and then I'll give it away. I'll keep some. Mm-hmm. I always say to people, why would you not acquire more? Because I don't want it? Well, then give it away.
Yeah, some of the richest people in the world, they do the giving pledge, right? They have massive wealth, but then they're giving it all away before they die.
That's right. So don't tell me that you'll do it when you don't do it. Why don't you first make money? Because if you're really that selfless, why don't you just make it and give it away? Let me see you give it away, because that will really tell me how selfless you are. It's like somebody standing at the base of a mountain going, there is no point climbing the top of the mountain. You know what? You only earn the right to say that once you've been on the top. You don't know what it's like. So how can you say that? And so you've got all these people, at the bottom level. And when I say the bottom level, people who have not even started on their financial journey, have not created enough value in the marketplace, judging those who have. And it's like, and it's trendy now. It's trendy to say, I don't care about money. People don't even see that they've bought into this new mainstream mentality of, escaping from the financial reality and just making yourself out to be this honorable, benevolent person. But it's all rubbish, because there is no honor in poverty. Why are we attaching so much twisted honor to poverty and people struggling and all of that sort of stuff? We need to attach more honor to achievement, especially those who came from backgrounds where they had nothing to support their achievements, and they've gone through significant adversity and challenges and still made it happen. We need to celebrate those people. And I just, for me, this whole thing of pitying people just doesn't sit well with me, because I know how spiritually powerful people are. Instead of making them realize that they can, we telling them, oh, no, you can't, I understand, I care about you, so here's a handout. That's not how you grow people. That's how you diminish people.
I love that concept. And I know you work a lot. In particular, you had mentioned a lot when we, by the way, everybody, Ron and I met at the Irish Castle. My community knows I went to this event over in Northern Ireland. So I forgot to tell everyone we met at this really cool event. But we had some interesting conversations over there. And I know you work with a lot of men, and especially in this day and age where there is this sort of like all this, reckoning kind of happening with men and how they are, and the patriarchy versus, women and all of this. So I loved hearing how you were working with men. Can you speak a little bit to like what's going on in that community and in that membership that you have?
Well, I started the Successful Male as a movement where I had suffered as a young man. I was frustrated, I was broke, I was angry, I was ignorant, and I didn't have good mentors around me. And, I felt that every time I reached out to my friends and I said, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, the solution was always the same. Hey, let's get drunk and let's get laid. Okay, so it was almost like I just couldn't speak to people. And then the older men in my family, they were all struggling, and they didn't have their lives together. And then, so I've had men in my family, in my friend circle, that have died or, killed themselves. And, I was one of those men that had contemplated killing myself at one point. And then, I started to come across these statistics where the incidence of violence, depression, anxiety, male suicides, it's all on the rise everywhere in the world. Men are lagging on every score, from discipline to academic scores to affluence to entrepreneurship. And what we're trying to do is now we're trying to bring this thing about mental health awareness, but no one's talking about the actual cause of the problem. We're talking about the symptoms. We're not really talking about the cause. And the cause is men don't have the tools to be able to enable themselves. Most men are not successful in their ability to be able to design the life and lifestyle that they want. The ones that are considered to be successful are only successful in one or two areas. They're typically lacking alignment. They're lacking emotional awareness. They're lacking, they're not on purpose, they're not inspired. So we have this massive epidemic which is now playing out. So when I started the Successful Male, it was interesting. Every time you try and make a big social change, you're always going to be misunderstood. And interestingly, I was first misunderstood by women. And they said, well, what's this? Why would you support men? I was at the Australian Women's Network. A woman got up and, I was talking about the Successful Male, and she said, excuse me. I said, yes. She said, well, why would you start something like this? I said, what do you mean? She said, don't you understand women need help? I said, who do you think I'm trying to help? Do you want to be in a world surrounded by men that don't get it, that are unhappy, that are uninspired, that are unfulfilled? Is that what you want? Or do you want men that are on purpose, that are inspired, that are high-charactered, that can lead without controlling? Is that not what you want? That are financially secure, that know their place in the world? So I kind of realized this is the level of thinking that we have, that as soon as I started a men's development initiative, it was automatically assumed to be anti-women. I said, where did that mentality come from? It's just, you need to understand, just like women need forums to come together and support each other, men need that as well. And that's what this is about. don't assume that a men's development initiative is a men's rights initiative. It's not. We have to apply distinctions in thinking here. And then and then the other side of that was I was starting to get attacked by men and being seen as a feminist. So on one hand, because I was holding men accountable for their actions, I was saying, hey, men, it's time to step up. Look, it's time to step up. You can't make these excuses. You can't blame women. You need to step up. You need to raise your standards. So when I said that, the men became resistant and I started being labeled a feminist by the men. So here, on both fronts, I was being attacked. There was a YouTube campaign against me where they labeled me a Hollywood pretty boy and saying that this guy doesn't know anything about anything. And here he is talking about this sort of stuff. And I say, excuse me, how many of you who have attacked me have bothered to actually look into what we're doing and how we do it? None of them had. And it kind of gave me an understanding of this is how the world works. And, when I studied history, I found the same thing, that no matter who you are, whether you were Abraham Lincoln or you were Kennedy or you were Martin Luther King or you were Mandela or you were Gandhi, all the people who tried to make a change for the positive were misunderstood, criticized, and ostracized for long periods of time. Mm-hmm. So I took it in my stride. I said, you know what? I don't care. You may not like me. You may not. I don't need to be popular. I'm pushing this change forward. It's time that the genders understand that it's not about being against each other. It's about supporting each other. And I really cared about this problem. And one of the things that I tell entrepreneurs is, your business is an extension of your personal vision. So find something that you truly care about, because when you hit those obstacles where you're opposed, when you criticize, when you're misunderstood, if you don't have a real passion for what you do, you're going to give up. And that's why you need to really understand what your overarching message is. And I'm very success driven. A lot of people don't like that. Success is a dirty word. Money is a dirty word. Wealth is a dirty word. Influence is a dirty word. All of these things are perceived to be superficial. But what a load of crap. I don't know where people ended up developing these negative associations with all of these things, because all of these things are what allows you to live a magnified life and lifestyle, and which allows you to then make the contribution that you want to make. So, but as leaders, and I know that you're on a similar path, Heather, and I know that a lot of your clients will be on a similar path. As leaders, one of the things we need to understand is that anytime you come up with a new perspective or a new insight, it will always be misunderstood in the beginning. Then as you continue to promote it, it's going to be violently opposed. And then eventually, as you persist and you stand by it and you can be bothered to explain and articulate your message over and over and over again, eventually it will be accepted as the inevitable truth.
I love that. That also is such a journey. And the path of success in entrepreneurship is, I think that once you have people criticizing you and trolling you and all of that, you actually can say you've reached a certain level of success because you've gotten visible enough that people can see you, they can find you, they're talking about you. So it's actually a bit of a feather in your cap. We just have to learn not to, of course, take that stuff on and take it personally. But that's, I think, part of the path. And while we're on that, I'd love to talk a bit about the visibility side of it, because I know you talk with your community as well about that and how important it is. And obviously that's what, my listeners are also very interested in, getting visible so they can get their messages out into the world and make a difference. A lot of them are heart-centered, purpose-driven, trying to make the world a better place. And I know you also have your Magnify You program that you do as well. So can you speak a little bit to the visibility side, how you've used it for yourself and how you help others with that as well?
Yes. So one of the things I say to people is, look, it's good to have expertise. You've got to have expertise today, but expertise by itself is not sufficient. You need expertise combined with visibility. For example, let's just assume that there are 4 types of people in every industry or marketplace. The first type of people are who we will consider to be in the category of not having expertise and not having visibility. The people who don't have expertise today and don't have visibility today are the biggest risk of job losses and lack of opportunities, because as the automation, outsourcing, and artificial intelligence trends continue to increase, those people are really going to suffer. The economic opportunities are going to be very, very limited. You have the second category of people, which is where a lot of professionals and coaches and consultants fall, which is, they've got high expertise. They've spent a lot of time developing their technical capability. They've got all these certifications and they're doing all these programs, but they have low visibility. If you're in the category of having high expertise and low visibility, you're going to work too hard for too little because you're not going to be recognized. And so what's going to happen is eventually you're going to end up resenting what you're doing and you're going to give up. The third category of people are the people who have high visibility but low expertise. Now, these are some of the slick marketers. They're very, very good at marketing and promoting themselves. They've mastered marketing. But when it comes to actually having depth of expertise, having solutions that are highly transformational or sustainable, they don't have that. So what happens is these people make a ton of money in the short to medium term. But because of the way social media works with all the transparency, inadvertently at some point they suffer reputational damage and they're out. And then you have the fourth category of people, which is high expertise and high visibility. Now, I've always known I have had expertise. I've developed my expertise over the years. I've always wanted to earn my stripes. I've always wanted to, be well researched and come up with unique perspectives and frameworks to solve complex problems. Now, I've always had that. What I didn't have many years ago was the visibility to match. As a consequence, I was being treated like a commodity by all of my clients who would come and sit with me and I would educate them. And I was educating myself. I had done all of these programs and certifications, and I thought, maybe if I do one more, it'll help. Maybe if I do one more, it'll help. Maybe then they'll see me. Maybe then they'll recognize me. And then after that, I made the shift to, maybe I need to give them more value. And if I educate them more, then they'll see me. Or I'll educate them even more, even more, even more. And I did all of that. All of the stuff that we have been told to do, give. I did that. Become qualified and have all these certifications. I did that. None of it worked. I was spending so much time with these prospects, and I'd sit there and I'll show them how to solve their problems. And you know what they would say to me at the end of the day? They would say, Ron, thank you so much. That was so wonderful. We'll come back to you. And then sometimes I'd follow up and I'd say, look, I haven't heard back from you. You said you really enjoyed that. That was valuable. Oh, yeah, no, it was so valuable, Ron. Thank you so much. We decided to go with our friend's recommendation. What?
Ouch.
What?
Yeah.
But you said you loved it. You said you enjoyed the experience. You said, but you said that I added so much value to you. Yet you didn't think I was worthy to get paid. And that's when I realized that we have this. I'm really interested in psychology. Initially, it was resentment against them, and then it was like, no. It's me. It's me. I have been misinformed. And I have wrongly believed that me being more qualified or me giving them tons of value is the way I'm going to end up doing business. And that's not the way it works. And that's when I realized the power of strategic visibility. And that's what I teach now. I teach people how to be the person where what you do is secondary to who you are. Where people come to you not because of what they do. In fact, most of the times, I have people who will literally check me out like a month before. They go into my websites and they subscribe to everything. They buy everything. And then they sometimes come to me and go, well, Ron, what is it exactly that you do? And I found this strange bias where people would just buy stuff and they don't even know what you do, but they're buying it. So I'm thinking, what's making them buy what I do? What's making them feel so intrigued by who I am? Where they don't care so much about what I do, but they want to be close to me. They want to feel associated with me, or they want to be a part of my initiatives. And that's when I started to realize what we do is important, but it's not as important as who we are. And the problem with visibility, just for the sake of visibility, is that if you don't know who you are, you haven't really taken the time to understand and clarify your message clearly and your philosophy, and you don't know how to blend that with your personal essence, your personal voice, your personal style statement. And, if you don't know how to put that together, you're visible. Even if you're visible, it'll be scattered. It won't connect with people. So that's when I understood the importance of strategic visibility. And I realized, you know what? I need to build that so that I don't want to ever run after people saying, do business with me. I don't want to convince people. I don't want to persuade people. I certainly don't want to manipulate people. I want to attract the people who just know that I'm the right person for them. And by the time they come to me, they're 50% sold. And all I have to do is just enable them make an informed decision from there.
Yeah, I would 100% agree that is sort of the secret magic of high visibility is that you're out there. People, first of all, they need to know you exist. They need to be able to find you, and they need to know who you are and what you do. And so when they can find that easily out in the world, and your marketing, your PR is really good, then it's like they come to you pre-sold. As you said, they're like ready. They want what you have to offer. So I love this concept, and I'd like to dig in a little deeper with like the visibility side of it. So, what are some of the things that you would say? And you did bring this up at the castle, and I love that you just mentioned it again about this is like in this new economy of social media and where we're at in the world, that sort of this digital revolution, that it's all about who you are versus what you do. So having that platform for who you are out there, that is what people connect to. I mean, our business is a reflection of us. It's the essence of us put into something that we're putting out into the world. But this concept of building your platform for yourself, can you speak a little bit more to that?
Yeah, I mean, social media gives us a wonderful opportunity to get our message out without spending an enormous amount in advertising. And but it requires some work and it requires some thinking. You see, there's a book called Content Inc. by Joe Polizzi, and he says that 70% of consumers now prefer to buy from somebody who has produced some sort of content. But we can't just be producing content for the sake of producing content. The first question is, number one, what is your message? And why is it your message? That's the first thing you've got to clarify. Second, why are you the best messenger to spread that message? That's the second thing you need to clarify. You need to know why you're the best person. Third, how do you integrate that message with your personal brand, your personal essence, your personal voice? How do you integrate those elements so you're coming across as consistently? Because the biggest challenge today is not so much that the world is competitive and commoditized. The biggest challenge is that the world is distracted. And you've got to first get their attention. Now, I don't agree with, you're just doing things to get attention and keep attention. That's why a lot of marketers go wrong. They're only engaging in attention-seeking tactics. What I'm saying is you've got to engage in some attention-seeking tactics with the intent of getting their intention and attention enough so that they stay long enough to then be able to experience the value that you give. But in the beginning, that's your challenge. So visibility, for me, it's about showing up on a regular basis, but knowing why I'm showing up. I need to know why I'm showing up. What is the change that you want to make? And you need to really answer this question if you're ever going to monetize this. And the question is, how and which complex problem are you going to solve with your message? You need to know this. So I give people a 5-question framework. So number one, I say to them, well, what is the specific problem that you're going to solve? Question number 2, who are you specifically solving this problem for? Question number 3, why should they solve this problem? Meaning, what's the impact of them not solving the problem? Question number 4, which is the most important question, why should they solve it through you? Even if they've decided to solve the problem, there's many alternatives available to them. Why through you? And then question number 5, what is the simplest way that you can enable them solve this complex problem, which is your process and your frameworks. Now, once you have clarity on this and you have clarity in your personal brand, you know who you are, what your voice is, your personal story, and you integrate these elements, then you get branding assets created that align with all of that stuff. I mean, I work with all of my branding, whether it's for my own personal brand or for Ron Malhotra International, or for Future Millionaires Academy, or it's for the successful male, the successful woman. I work with a designer who I worked with for many, many years. And she doesn't just go and design stuff for me. We sit in boardrooms for 4 to 5 hours discussing what we're about, our philosophy, why we want to do this, our vision, our mission. And we talk over and over again who we want to serve and what they think and what are their dreams and their fears and their aspirations and their frustrations right now. And we talk and we talk and talk till she feels it. And then she goes and creates my branding material. So there's a lot of conscious work that's gone into our branding material, but I don't create any branding assets. I don't create any social media tiles or logos or brochures or anything of that sort until we have gone through this exercise where every time we launch a new program or a new initiative or a new brand, we go through this exercise. You're spending 4 to 5 hours with her, really dissecting and breaking down the essence of what we're doing and, more importantly, why we're doing it. That's when she then intuitively then goes and constructs the brand for us. And she comes back and she says, these are the design elements that we feel will signify the change that you're trying to make. For example, if you look at the successful male icon, there's a man standing in a black suit with his arms crossed and his legs wide apart. Now, they're not too wide because that would indicate arrogance. but they're not. But there is a level of confidence. Now, we had a public relations person who saw that icon for the first time. She said, "I love it." I said, "Why do you love it?" She said, "Well, because the icon for me means it shows me that it's an integration of a life coach meets a leadership trainer meets James Bond."
I love it.
And that's exactly the field that we were trying to create. And so it was captured in the icon, right? So that's when you then start to create visibility from that place, it sticks. Whereas if you're just going out there and going, I just want attention, I'm just going to put anything out, I'm just going to regurgitate something, and you've got scattered thinking, scattered philosophy, because I create content on a number of different subjects, but I have been able to align them and integrate them under one single philosophy. So people feel what I'm about. They know what my philosophy is. I never deviate from that. I never contradict myself on my philosophy.
Yeah, I think the consistency, like you're saying, it is just so important. And doing that, deep work, the soul searching kind of deep dives into what you're creating is so key. Otherwise, you do often end up back at the drawing board, because if you're not embodying what it's meant to be in the visual representation, the words, any collateral you're creating, then it is harder for people to connect to, or there is something that just doesn't sync up for them. So that's an excellent example of what it takes to really, get in alignment with whatever you're putting out into the world. So thank you for that example. And I know we're getting short on time here, so I don't want to take up too much more of your day here, but you're my last interview for this season. So it's a very special episode.
So do I get a gift?
You get the publisher clearinghouse sweepstakes special. We do have one more episode. It'll be a solo episode, but you're the last actual official interview for this first season. So that's just very exciting, and I'm so happy that it's you. I love what you're doing and putting out into the world. If anyone would like to connect with you, how would they go about doing that?
Just reach out to me on LinkedIn. It's my preferred platform, and I'm starting to become active on Instagram as well. But and then just shoot me a message. Let me know that you did end up on Heather's podcast and what you thought of it, whether you agreed with me or disagreed with me. And if there's anything that I can help you reconcile in what I've explained, I'll be more than happy to do that. At the same time, if you're a professional or an executive or an entrepreneur that wants to strategically, you don't want to bypass the thinking stuff. See, this is the thing. I get my clients to think. I get them to think for everybody. Why? Because if whoever's done the most thinking is going to be able to come up with a solution that's going to look superior, because people don't want to do thinking. It's hard work. So check yourself and see, are you avoiding doing the deep thinking? Because once you've done the deep thinking, you will be able to create solutions which are going to propel your authority in the marketplace. So if you need assistance with something like that, just reach out to me. But I will also say, in regards to Heather's work, public relations is something that I have also used strategically. And it's so important when it's done well and it's used strategically, it can have a real impact. And public relations, for me, has generated so much credibility and business for me over the years. So I highly recommend that as well. In fact, after this podcast, I'll be speaking to Heather about using her services further for my brand. So thank you, Heather, for having me on, and I appreciate the opportunity to connect with your audience. On LinkedIn, you can just look me up, Ron Malhotra, and on Instagram, my username is the Ron Malhotra, just because I couldn't find Ron Malhotra. So I'm not trying to big up myself here, but I just, so if you just look me up and connect with me and send me a message, please.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ron. And thanks for those kind words. And yes, I do look forward to continuing the conversation with you about publicity. And we'll include all of your links in the show notes. So you guys, as always, you can find those over at podcast.theshinestrategy.com. And Ron, I just want to thank you so much for being here today. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you again soon. At some point, our paths will cross in one of these countries. We were lucky enough to get to meet over in Ireland. Also, do you want to talk about one last quick plug there for your what's coming up for the Successful Woman?
Yeah, so the Successful Woman is just, look, for the last 4 years, we have women reaching out going, well, why don't you start something for women? And I said, well, I'm not a woman, so why do you want me to start it? And they've been coming up. And then the other thing that's kind of intrigued me is, well, there's already so many initiatives out there for women. But one of the pieces of feedback that we got was that there was nothing holistic that was training women to become holistically successful in identifying their purpose, maximizing their potential, and then using their potential to make a positive impact in the world. And again, we have integrated all the financial and business elements in there as well. So we're launching the Successful Woman Initiative in 2020, which is for women who want to grow a training, speaking business and mentoring business. And they want to be supported with the branding. They want to be supported with the curriculum, the intellectual property, but business and financial training, all put in one package. And we're going to be creating an experience for these women. We had originally decided that we were going to do it at the Crom Castle in Ireland. Unfortunately, they don't have enough rooms. So now we're looking at either France or Italy for 2020. So if you're a woman that is kind of likes the idea of being an ambassador for the Successful Woman, wants to have a career in speaking and mentoring, and has a desire to make six figures or multi six figures without working full time, just reach out so I can explain to you how this model works. And Heather, thank you for allowing me to promote this.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I mean, you're just doing such great work in the world, really helping people, as you said, from like a holistic perspective to have greater happiness, success, and, just a nicer life experience. And that's what we're all about here at the Shine Strategy is, raising a spotlight and putting it on the people that are out there, helping others have better lives and success in their lives, making the world a better place. So you're definitely one of those people that's out there walking the talk. So we appreciate you for that. And I hope you'll come back on one of our upcoming seasons and keep us posted on all the good things that are happening.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Heather. It was great to have this conversation.
All right. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for being here, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Shine Strategy Podcast. I invite you to join me at shineinsiders.com for a free masterclass where you can get more inspiration and strategies to get visible and change the world. Your voice matters. Please subscribe, rate, and share this show so we can continue to grow on this journey together. Until the next one, it's Heather Burgett, your Shine Strategist, signing off.